make this quick.
No, you won't. The Wii U was a massive failure. It's hard to say that the Wii U struggled to find its footing in the gaming market when really this thing never even had feet in the first place. Nintendo wanted it to be this super convenient way to control and watch TV, but the console's slow speed undermined the convenience it offered. Nintendo also wanted to retain the massive casual audience from the Wii, but failed to market the system in a way that showed it really separated itself from the Wii.
You add it to your Wii, or you don't even need to use the Wii. Do you need to use the Wii?
Nintendo wanted to bring back hardcore gamers, dialing back things like motion controls and having dual analog sticks make a return. But the whole console's premise was a gimmick in of itself, and was also an underpowered piece of shit. So it's easy to see why the Wii U failed, with the only people who bought it being dedicated Nintendo fans who would buy anything that claims to run a Mario. However, another demographic the Wii U reached at the time was stupid little children who like Nintendo, aka 9-year-old me. The Wii U was always the console that I always knew I could have a good time on, whether it be playing something solo or usually playing with my brothers. I always found every little nook and cranny of the system's features really interesting. The ability to play a console game just on the gamepad was such a godsend for kid me whenever my mom was busy using the TV to watch Long Island Medium. And the games were always a good time, usually best when accompanied by other people though. And the very best part of the Wii U was those damn discs. I mean, wow. They were soft, what the hell? The game lineup on the Wii U was very interesting. There are some extremely good games on the Wii U, like I'm talking about some genre-defining games on this piece of shit. There are also a lot of extremely bad games on Wii U, you know? For every tropical freeze, you're gonna have to deal with a Star Fox Zero. But thankfully, I didn't really play any of these games and mostly just stuck to whatever I got for Christmas, which was straight heat, thankfully. While I didn't play everything on the Wii U, the games I did play, I played a lot of. Things like Mario Kart 8, I would play a ton of just to unlock all the characters and kart parts. Smash 4 is where I really learned how to play Smash Bros, which meant picking Dark Pit and just spamming side B until I won. And Splatoon, ooh, don't even get me started on Splatoon. This was the perfect game to just sit down and scratch that part of my child brain that for some reason really wanted a gun. It was the first time a game really locked me in. It did require both the TV and gamepad to play, which was mostly a deal breaker to child me since I was a gamepad warrior, but whenever I could play it, I had a great time. Mario 3D World was this insanely fun game that I could play with my brothers, and I remember being ridiculously bad at it, and that's about it. But surprisingly enough, the game I have the most memories of and easily had the most fun with was Nintendo Land. Oh my god, Nintendo Land was such a banger. The solo games were a little, you know, like the fucking octopus game, nobody wants to play that. But the Zelda game, where you get to swing the Wii remote like a sword, dude, holy fuck, that shit was awesome. The Metroid game was also insanely fun. I remember completing all the levels with my brother and just thinking the entire time they could just make this its own separate game. I love this game so much, bro. Besides the co-op mini games, there was the competitive games, and those were easily just as fun. The Luigi's Mansion game had me terrified for my life whenever I wasn't the ghost, and when I was the ghost, I would lose in like 4 minutes. Mario Chase was always the most competitive though. Having to coordinate with all the toads to try and catch Mario was impossible for small children to do, so whoever was playing Mario usually won. Besides that, we didn't really play any of the other games, probably because we were too dumb or just didn't like the way Pikmin look, I guess. And while not exclusive to the Wii U, Minecraft on Wii U was something I put a ton of hours into and was actually the system I first beat the game on by myself. This and the Xbox 360 version of the game were where I got a lot of my childhood hours of Minecraft. And that was about it for the games I mainly played on Wii U. There was a few others, but the core memories I made with the Wii U were mostly with these games. But of course, what 9-year-old me was playing was not all the Wii U had to offer. While I definitely got an okay taste of the Wii U library, I missed out on some heavy hitters, like Mario Maker. I remember seeing this game and thinking it was insane. So insane that instead of getting it for the Wii U, I got it for the 3DS instead, which was definitely a choice. I still had a ton of fun with the game, nonetheless, and felt like I got a decent Mario Maker experience from it. But I still watched a ton of YouTubers play Mario Maker, like Game Grumps, and seeing all the impossible levels they would play and thinking, you know, I could do that easily. Some of the other heavy hitters I missed out on were games like Wind Waker HD, Pimpkin 3, Tropical Freeze, Hyrule Warriors, and biggest of all, Sonic Boom. So overall, while the Wii U library wasn't perfect, I mean, there were some like really bad games on it. A lot of the games, when given to a child, were really good. So, good job, Nintendo. The Wii U wasn't shimmering with knickknacks like the 3DS was, but it didn't have nothing. For instance, you had an entire ass internet browser, which was a way more fully fledged internet browser than what was on the 3DS. I didn't ever really use the internet browser because I only ever really used the internet to watch YouTube, which was on the Wii U as an app, but I mean, you could do this. So that was cool. The Wii U also had FaceTime, like straight up modern day FaceTime. You could draw on the screen and everything. Kind of crazy. Did anyone even use this?
Nihon no Minisan. Konnichiwa. How is my Japanese?
There was the Mii Maker, which was kind of just the same thing from the 3DS and Wii. There was TV mode, which was just really weird. I know some people got a use from it by using the gamepad as a TV remote, but telling from how quick they shut Nintendo TV down shows nobody was really using this thing. Yeah. Wow, this thing was actually kind of barren. Miiverse was definitely more fleshed out on the Wii U compared to the 3DS, and was clearly the console the service was designed for. I put a good amount of my Miiverse hours on the Wii U. I really think the service was something special, and I've definitely talked it to death, but still, it deserves its own video. Other than that, I mean, there's the activity log, so that's sick. Now, if you thought modding and homebrewing on the 3DS was crazy, the Wii U is like that, but on steroids. The Wii U was the first console I ever homebrewed, and it all began because I really wanted to play Twilight Princess HD for some reason at 14 and had no money. So I looked up a ton of videos, and eventually after multiple days of troubleshooting and having to use an internet browser to somehow access the homebrew menu, I finally had gained my homebrew wings. I think the first thing I ever really used my homebrew Wii U to do was to download the perfectly legal and legitimately obtained game backups onto the system so that I could finally play Twilight Princess HD, which I never got more than maybe, 2 hours into the game, by the way. But the homebrew virus had already been developed well into my brain at this point, and like any homebrewer, I needed to mod more. So what I ended up doing was, instead of modding an actual Wii, which I had, I instead had modded the virtual Wii inside of the Wii U. Now, I ran wild with this, installing emulators so I could play all my legally obtained and perfectly legitimate games. But seriously, this is how I was finally able to play the games I had heard so much praise on YouTube, and revisiting a lot of nostalgic titles that I no longer had access to. I played a good amount of games like Mother 3 and Wind Waker on this modded Wii U Frankenstein Freak. And looking at the Wii U modding scene today, it's absolutely crazy what you can do with the system. Being able to play a ton of emulators on the system, even non-Nintendo ones like PlayStation. You can play homebrew ports of games like Five Nights at Freddy's, which honestly is a better time than playing something like fucking Star Fox Guard. You can have custom themes and personalize it and, this and that. And of course, you have all the benefits of a modded system, like being able to play region-locked games and import different save data to games. This all makes for the Wii U to be one of the craziest systems you can mod, and I'm grateful that it was my first system I ever modded, as it introduced me to emulators and the process of putting an SD card into a computer and back into the console more times than I can count. I think the Wii U is definitely a unique console. In memoriam, it will always be referred to as the failure, or just a plain weird console. And looking back, it mostly deserves that title. It was poorly marketed, poorly developed, and ran like doo-doo farts. But through determination and mostly the will of this man, may he rest in peace, they took a bad thing and added a little classic Nintendo love to it. And then modders came in and added a lot of love to it, making the Wii U a pretty alright console with some really good games and a really expansive modding scene. Thanks, Wii U. And then I said, Wii me? No, Wii U. Thank you. You guys like that one? I've been workshopping it. Yep, that's what I've been gone for 4 months. I was workshopping that one, so I hope you guys like that one. Hey, who here is from Nintendo Land? Yo, what's up with Nintendo Land?